exercise, but I hear people say, oh, I got arthritis, or I can't walk, or my mother-in-law drives me crazy. That's me. Okay? You can make things to exercise. And I'm going to show you one now that I actually made, and I've been using it probably for 25 years, and it shows. Okay? You take a balloon and sand. Does everybody have me? Balloon and sand. Do you have any sand on campus? No? Dirt doesn't work. Has to be sand. A balloon and sand. See, it's a little dirty. Everybody see it?
Yeah.
You can squeeze it. Okay? That's exercise. Does everybody follow me? So what we're going to talk about is exercise and wellness, because I think I told you the last time when we talked about genetically modified foods, I was enlightened accidentally. My daughters have gotten into health coaching, which, by the way, if you know anybody that's thinking about getting into it, get into it. $189 a month, and they each have about 50 people right now. I'm in the wrong business. It's cash. Teasing. Okay? So back to wellness and exercise. What you want to pay attention to is the benefits of exercise. Head to toe. And you want to pay attention who knows what ADLs are? Okay? This is down the road. A couple months from now, we're going to do that lecture. But to give you an idea of how to gauge your wellness and exercise, you base it on activities of daily living. Who has heard that word before? Okay? Well, why I'm telling you about it is that's how they determine your Medicare benefits. Is everybody with me? How you do your ADLs determine what services you get if you happen to go to the hospital or the doctor's office with a particular problem. How we have to assess you is, are you feeding yourself, dressing yourself, bathing yourself? Are you able to groom yourself? Are you able to do your shopping? Are you able to do your banking? All those things play into what's called the ADLs. And why I bring this up is data, most of it's coming out of California, Texas, and Connecticut. But as I'm going to show you, exercise improves your ADLs. Okay? And remember what I showed you. Well, all these show and tells. I got all this stuff in my pocket. That's exercise. And we're going to show how just something like this, where there's resistance in my hand and I'm doing this, increases your heart rate. What happens when we increase our heart rate through exercise? Hormones in your body become stimulated. The one that you want to stimulate, who's heard of endorphins? Okay? These are chemicals in the brain that are secreted, and they make you feel good. Not only do you feel good, they help you sleep. And when the endorphins are circulating, you don't have pain. Does everybody follow me? So I showed you a real simple exercise, and I'm going to tell you now about the benefits of the simple exercise. Now, the first thing is, how much should you do a day? If you're not exercising now at all, 10 minutes is what I'd start with. If you are doing some exercising, then you want to start out at about 30 minutes a day. And we'll show you, I can't do all 30, but I'll show you the exercise regimen. And then when you get from the beginner to the expert, not the expert, but where you see the difference in your ADLs, 60 minutes of exercise 5 times a day. Okay, now, everybody says to themselves, 60 minutes, that's a whole hour. I can't exercise that long. I'm going to show you It's not running, it's not jogging, it's not swimming. These are ways that you can get your heart rate up to produce endorphins in your body, which are going to make you feel better. And then the data I'm going to show you today is statistically, you're healthier. What does that mean? That means that we study common diseases that take us out. What does that mean? That lead to your demise. What are the tough ones? Dementia. Swallowing. Ticker sits in there. Heart. If you smoke, COPD. So lungs. Bowel. Bladder. Balance. Notice those B's are on this side so I can remember them. Okay? And then what you want to look at is your immune system. To fight, we'll put cancer up there because that's always number one. But I'll put inflammation. So this is a busy one, and we'll go over it now slowly so everybody understands. The data's out. Yes, sir?
You have to wear your mask.
Do I have to? Probably not. But if you guys can't hear me? Yeah. I'll do half and half. But anyhow, what this is here for, there's data now that proves. Where's this data coming out of? Some of it's out of England, some of it's out of Johns Hopkins, some of it's out of the University of Pittsburgh. And this is data to show that exercising regularly improve all these areas. And again, we're saying 10 minutes a day to start. 60 minutes 5 times a week. And it doesn't have to be 60 straight minutes. That's why I said start with 10. It could be 6 10-minute exercises a day. I can't do it 10 minutes because we don't have enough time. Jim will yell at me. Okay? But the bottom line is, this is exercise, and if I could do this in front of you for 10 minutes right now, and then go back to that 5 more times in a day, that fulfills the 60 minutes, and that 60 minutes will improve all of these things, and it's already been studied. The data's there to show. And why? You increase the blood flow. Once you increase the blood flow and more blood is going through the brain, endorphins kick in. Once endorphin kicks in, inflammation goes down. That strengthens your immune system. And then ultimately, it helps the mind, it helps the swallowing. Why do I pick up swallowing? If and when the time comes in your life where you are asked to get a swallowing study done, what you're going to do is you're going to swallow some material while they take pictures of it going down your esophagus. And they're going to make the determination as to whether or not you are safe to have regular food or your food needs to be modified. What is modified? This is regular food. This is pureed food. And in between, there's different levels based upon how well you swallow. Why do I bring that up? Because if you chew your food 32 times, like we talked about, A, it's exercise. And B, digestion occurs in your mouth. And so there's less food going down. People think that a big gulp makes the muscle stronger. You want to chew the food so your body gets it down your esophagus without you even knowing it. And why do I emphasize that? Remember with the ADLs, guys, this is going to come up. What's going to happen is someone's going to ask you questions. Remember what we talked about before. Know who you're speaking with and answer the question appropriately. And that old adage is, don't answer anything more than the question that they ask. Don't go into a long story. Well, I swallow fine, but I had a stroke 6 years ago, and I couldn't swallow and needed a peg tube. They don't need to know all that information. Now, if they ask you, be honest. I'm giving you the facts that you need to know. Exercise will improve your ADLs. One of the things that we don't pay attention to is swallowing. Chew your food 32 times. And for those of you that haven't tried it, there's no food left. In fact, you might not even get to 32 depending upon the bite you take. So as you're chewing the food to get to 32, there may be no food left in your mouth. You will not even notice that you're swallowing. That's the best way to preserve your swallowing function. Okay, does everybody understand the concept? Because that's only one of these many we're going to talk about. What is dementia? Short answer to dementia is the signal sending in the brain gets disrupted. What does that mean? Well, I forgot. I can't move around for Jim. Okay? The signal sending in the brain means that something comes into your mind, and as it's in your mind, as I'm speaking to you, I could be thinking about, I have 2 patients to see up this way, Holly's not around, so I have to start the office at 4 o'clock. While I'm still speaking to you, you can have those thoughts. And so what happens is, when you end up with the process called dementia, you're unable to organize all those thoughts simultaneously, and you lose some of the connections that would have allowed you to do that, to the point where even simple connections no longer connect. And generally what happens is we know it's coming. So you know your memory was a certain capability, you now know that it's dropped off, but usually you hide it and you don't tell anybody. What helps it? Exercise. Why? More blood goes to the brain. What people don't understand is memory can be learned. I think the studies were on 100-year-olds. I think they had 1,400-year-olds. And they showed that they had the capacity to learn as well as 6-year-olds in first grade. And that's what everybody forgets. I tell this story in my mother's house. When you walked in, there was a foyer, stairs, living room, dining room. The living room you had to walk through to get to the kitchen and the family room. And that's where you saw tracks in the road. Nowhere else was there a track in the road. Why? You weren't allowed in the living room. That was just for show. Okay? That's how your brain works. 90% of what we do are a few tracks. You follow me? That other percentage in your brain that we're not using, you can develop. So you are able to learn. And that's a very important thing to understand when it comes to the signal sending in the brain that we call dementia, that as we get older changes its speed, its capabilities and capacities, and the way to keep it as sharp as you possibly can is exercise. And I'm purposely moving my hand as I do this. This is exercise. Everybody has to understand that we don't want anybody running, we don't want anybody swimming every day or riding a bicycle or any of those things, but I'm going to tell you things you can do. Does everybody understand that from the dementia vantage point? Because again, increasing the blood flow and increasing the endorphins, it's been proven, and not just in rats. All right, I'll give you guys a break. My joke, since I talked about rats. So there's 2 rats hanging out on the street corner. And the one rat says to the other rat, "Hey, you getting the COVID-19 vaccine?" And the rat says, "Nah, I'm waiting until they're done with the human trials." All right, troops, now listen. Dementia, don't be afraid of it. You got to attack it. How do you attack it? Exercise. Please understand it, guys. It works. More blood flow improves everything. And we're going to talk about other things to do with the mind and the memory, but this is an important one to understand. This is exercise. This is part of, if you can do this 60 minutes a day. Does that mean I have to do this for 60 minutes? Of course not. And you got feet in another hand, and you got other things you can do to make this work. So when this gets tired as it is, you switch. Does everybody understand the concept? You have to do the exercise. And then once you do it and see how the endorphins, you sleep better, your mind is sharper, everything feels better, it becomes easier. And before you know it, you're doing more than 300 exercise minutes through the course of the week. Okay, another big one, I heard everybody talk about it, heart. I don't want to raise hands, but I will say that anybody that had heart disease, heart problems, or admitted to the hospital in the last 20 years had this prescribed when they left the hospital. What is it called? Cardiac rehab. What's it for? Exercise. Does everybody understand? So if they put new blood vessels on your heart muscle, and the number one thing the doctor makes you do when you leave the hospital is exercise, do you see the connection? And this is exercise. What do we know? The heart squeezes. It needs the blood vessels to the muscle to enable it to squeeze. But as it begins to pump, and it does that in exercise faster, more blood goes everywhere, including the heart muscle. And that's what it's all about. So when you have a heart problem and you go to the hospital, they connect you to cardiac rehab. For that purpose, you have to work the heart. And again, do you have to run a mile? No. Do you have to jog? No. Do you have to ride a bike? No. Do you have to swim? No. This is exercise. Please keep that in mind, guys, because it's so important. And again, the studies are out there. All the stuff I'm telling you is simple to find anywhere. These are things that occur. You have to get the heart rate up to get the endorphins to be produced in your body, but they will be. I have a brother that runs triathlon. He's 6 foot tall and 145 pounds. So he has the physique, but I got the hair. He's bald. Okay? But the bottom line is, I used to say to him, what are you doing? Because we'd be at a baptism at his house or something. And all of a sudden he'd change and he'd run out the front door. And he goes, so what are you doing? And he says, the endorphins make him feel so good. If he doesn't run, he misses it. So I'm telling you, it's real, and this exercise can produce it for you. All right, the one that's with the heart is lung. Same thing, I don't want to show of hands, but anybody that has lung disease and has been in the hospital for lung disease, when they get discharged, what do they get? Pulmonary rehab. Same thing, guys. Why? Endorphins lessen inflammation. Oop, forgot about you. Okay? So when you lessen the inflammation in lungs, that's a good thing. So they have you exercise. What occurs is everybody does it and then they stop. And I'm okay with that. But the whole point of today is wellness through exercise. And we have to find ways to incorporate this into your day. So everybody understands the concept. The dementia, the swallowing, the heart, and the lungs are big ones. But even bigger than that, my B's. Balance, bladder, and the bowels. If you know where every bathroom is in a 5-mile radius from here, then you have an issue with one of those. Okay? And that's all common. That's why I said it. We all know. I mean, not all of us, but we all know when the bowels aren't working the way they want them to be, or if you're having trouble with urination, before you go anywhere or commit to going anywhere, you got to know where all the bathrooms are. Then your spouse or significant other needs to know, when I say I got to get there, I got to get there. How do you improve that? Exercise. And of course, water. All the colon does is contract and absorb water. Contract and absorb water. That's all it does. So what do you want to do? Water, so you don't have to pull the water out of the stool, and keep the exercising up so things work better. And they've proven, guys, colon cancer is lower in people that exercise than those that don't. Breast cancer is lower in people that exercise to those that don't. The data's there. Why aren't we doing it? That's what today's purpose is, for everybody to understand it. Okay? The balance part I found was interesting. Some of the exercises that are recommended, I laughed at. I thought, no way, this can't be exercise. So Tai Chi for balance, I can't do it, but I'll show you how you're supposed to. Stand on one foot. Okay? And don't anybody do that without holding on to something. You follow me? Because I probably couldn't do it long. There you go. Okay? That's not easy. And again, you don't want to fall. But that's what you build up to. And how do you get there? Who knows what yoga is? Okay? Yoga is stretching. My partner, Dr. Jagiello, if you guys have never met him, let's see. My father had his open heart in 1994. So that's almost 30 years ago. I'm driving to New York to see my sister. I have a mobile home. And my father calls me. I'm in New Jersey. I'm having chest pain. I said, call 911. What hospital? I said, go to Passman, it's closer. You coming over? I said, no, I'm on my way to New York. Well, I'll wait till you get back. I said, if you're having chest pain, go to the hospital. Well, who's going to take care of me? I said, Dr. Jagiello. And he said, that old guy. That's 30 years ago. That old guy. I go, yeah, that old guy. He goes, I'll wait for you. I said, I'm calling the ambulance now. So I called the ambulance, they picked him up, they took him. I get to New York, and before I even call back, he calls me. He goes, hey, that guy's quiet, but he's pretty smart. And I said, so you okay? I don't have to come home? He said, yeah, we get along fine. My whole point, though, is what happens, everything's inconvenient. What does that mean? I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to watch what I'm eating. I don't have time to chew my food 32 times. Remember what I'm telling you about ADLs, guys. They come up on you quickly. I just found out, I get to tell all these stories today. My children have decided that I'm too old to do a lot of things. And so they think I should be a spectator instead of participant. So I got them good on Sunday. We joined a new softball league. I play softball. So the new guy is a pitcher. For all you guys that know my girl Dana, it's Dana's fiance. So he's the new pitcher on the team. So he wanted to practice before the game. Our games were 6 and 7 p.m. Sunday night. So I go to church at 8 o'clock. I meet him at 9:30. We pitch for an hour. Then I meet Dr. Jagiello at 10:30 or 11 o'clock. We played soccer till 1 o'clock. Then I met the administrator for Health South because I'm trying to get patients there. And we golfed from 2 o'clock to 4:30. And then I played softball from 6 to 8 o'clock. And I catch. So Dana's boyfriend, knowing what I did, he says, how are you going to get that fat body up if someone's coming into home? I said, it's called adrenaline. And sure enough, we had a couple plays at home. I was 1 for 2. I missed one of the balls, but we got the other guy out. But my whole point to the story is, what I found when I woke up Monday, I couldn't move. It was the most I've done in I don't know how long. And it was horrific, kind of, I couldn't move. You know, the alarm goes off, you reach over and you hit it, and then it was like, what was that? And then as you sit up, there's pains I didn't know I had muscles in. And then when I stood up, I realized I need to listen to my children and spectate instead of participate. But the point comes back, guys, that today I feel pretty good. The hurt is getting in shape. I played soccer for Gannon University. I was actually their captain. And when we would go to preseason, anybody that's been in Erie, you know where State Street is, the main road that goes down to Lake Erie, goes past Hammond Hospital. That's where Gannon was. That's where I went to school. And we'd all come out, stretch, 6 o'clock in the morning, and they'd say, all right, run down to Beach 11 and come back. So, of course, my buddies and I started to jog, and then we went to the fraternity house and sat down. 2 minutes later, he's out beeping the horn. He followed us. But again, same thing. You'd run those first couple days, you couldn't move. But then by the first game, you could breathe well. That's all getting in shape. This shouldn't hurt you much, but it may. Just slow down. Exercise is not jerky rapid. That's not exercise. Exercise is just moving the muscle that you're trying to move. All right, so everybody has the concept. The big one with the balance, that's another thing that can get you in trouble when they're assessing your activities of daily living. Because they're going to say, can you dress yourself, bathe yourself, all those kinds of things, can you prepare a meal? So how do they see how your balance is? They have you stand with your legs apart, put your arms either straight out or up, or sometimes out, and then close your eyes. And then they push you. Not hard, just a little push on the chest, like this. And if you have good balance, that's usually not a problem. If you don't, you're going to fall. And of course, they do it by your bed, so you fall on your bed. Okay? But the whole idea that I'm pushing this for is, how do you get the balance? Stretching. All stretching. Dr. Jagiello, 68 years old. Before we play soccer, he leans up against the goalpost and he stretches. And one time he got hurt, I didn't think he'd play for a couple months, and he was there the next week, and he said he stretched it out. So I'm a believer in stretching out the muscles are good things to do, especially for balance. If you can get up and down, if you can kneel down on this floor, lay down on this floor, and get right back up without any problems at all, then you don't have to spend much time at all with the balance stuff. But if you can't, what you need to do is, while you're lying in your bed, you need to, everybody know the frog leg position? Where you bend your legs out and put your feet together and your legs fall out on each side like frog legs. And of course, to start, you don't want to stretch them because you'll hurt yourself. To start out, you just want to bend your knees and keep your feet planted on the bed, and with your knees touching, just bring them out a little bit. That starts the process. But you eventually want to get to the point, and I'll show you in a minute what you want to be able to do. That's the stretch that begins. And then you eventually get to the point, and I can't do it, but you can bend down and touch your toes. Do you do that tomorrow, next week, next month? No. You start out going to the knee. That's the stretch. And that's what yoga is. It's all stretching out the muscles, the joints, and the ligaments. That is very, very helpful. And guess what? It'll get your heart rate up. Hard to believe, but it will. And then especially, I don't want anybody to try to get into these higher levels. I don't want anybody doing anything that's going to hurt them. Everybody check with your doctor before you start to do this stuff. You got to make sure you're capable of it. I think that there's not anybody in here who wouldn't be able to do this, but I would hesitate because I don't know your histories. But again, this is the exercise I'm pushing today. And remember, you can make the resistor with a balloon and some sand. And this is at least 20 years old. Okay, so everybody make sure you pay attention to that. With the bowel and the bladder, water, 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 and the same thing, the exercises increases the blood flow for both. Big one, immune. Your immune system is made up of protein and cells called phagocytes, P-H-A-G-O, phagocytes. The game Pac-Man, everybody remember Pac-Man? That used to go around and pick up that guy? That's how the phagocytes work in your body. So if there's inflammation or intruder in your body, the phagocytes scoop it up, and then the immune system clears it through lymphatics. What are lymphatics? These are blood vessels that run with the nerve, artery, and the vein. If you have a sore throat, runny nose, you may end up with lymph nodes in your neck. If you cut yourself, wherever you cut yourself, you may end up with a lymph node by it. Earache, you can have a lymph node behind the jawbone. The point is, that's how the body fights off infection. What keeps the immune system strong? Exercise. All proven. Please pay attention to it. All right, so what I want to do, I want to show you guys something. Like I said, it's going to be show and tell, because I want to get you to the most common exercise. All right, Jim, you're going to miss me for a minute, because you can't follow me. Okay, guys, now this is the show and tell part. I challenged somebody to exercise, and I was told that I was disrespectful to things such as sit and be fit. And I didn't know I was, but I believe I was. So what they had me do, I went to the program, and what they had me do was work with the people that were there. 2 105-year-olds, 3 100-year-olds, 16 90-year-olds, and the rest were in their 80s. And everybody there, this was with Patty down in Bellevue, is who challenged me to come. Because I made the comment that sit and be fit is for wusses. But I did it jokingly to a guy that took it out of context, a patient for mine for a long time. So, what we did, and it all goes 10 of these plus 6, gives you 60 seconds, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then change the position of your arm. Either down or up. And do the same thing. Does everybody see that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then change the position, either up or down, and do it again. Same thing on this. So now you're up to 4 60 seconds. 1, 2, does everybody follow me? 10 times. Same thing. 10 times. And then forward, 10 times. Backward, 10 times. No, 10 times. Head tilt. And slow, guys. None of this stuff fast. And they were doing it pretty quick. I have to tell you, these 100-year-old ladies were doing this pretty fast. And as I kept up with them, I didn't get short of breath. But I was sweaty after about 20 minutes of doing it. And it made me realize that's aerobic exercise, and not anything that I did or as I watched them do it was strenuous that would hurt you. So please pay attention to, that's the exercise I'm talking about. And you can start out, like I said, only do 10 minutes. But build it up to 6 of those 10 minutes a day, or 3 20s, or 2 30s, whatever you can do. I did 20, I think the timer went off at 24 minutes. I was sweating, and I guarantee it's exercise. Endorphins are produced, and that's what you want, because that's the part helps you sleep, keeps the stress level down. So everybody understands it? That was my show and tell. Jim's going to miss me for a minute, but that's okay. So again, now what I want to make sure everybody pays attention to is that exercising doesn't have to be horrific things that make us uncomfortable, make me the way I felt Monday morning when I couldn't get up. None of that stuff has to be for exercise. But the importance of it is head to toe. And exercising that you want to do that's real simple, yoga. Oh, I didn't show you that one. I'm afraid to go all the way up on this. I might get hurt. See that? In the good old days, I could jump up there. The yoga position that I'm talking about, Jim, you might miss this because I got to move this over. When you're in your bed, you're laying with your feet here, just leave the legs come open. 10 times. Build up to feet against each other and get the leg all, don't even try it, but you will be able to get your leg down on the mattress beside you. Don't anybody get on the ground yet. That's for when you build up. But those are the stretches that you do. And what happens when you're doing those stretches, it helps with the balance. As you do those stretches, get out of bed, get to a chair. What's the exercise? Stand up and sit down. And get a walker or a cane if you need that for your balance. But what I just showed you, and not jump up. Not jump. The slower you go, the more muscles you use. That's the exercise. So you stretch, you do that one. Now the Tai Chi and some of these other ones, I don't do them well. They're all for, does everybody understand the concept of isometrics? Everybody with your right hand, what I'm going to show you I'm going to do with my hand is right now it's relaxed. In a second, I'm going to stimulate all the muscles in my hand. Everybody watch my hand. See how it's relaxed? See how I stimulate the muscles? Everybody stimulate the muscle of their hand. That's isometrics. That's bringing more blood. Pulling your hands against each other. That's isometrics. Pushing against each other. Isometrics. Those are exercises. And they work. And then we'll build up. I'll tell you some other ones. Don't even try them now. I'm not even going to tell you now. But isometrics is a very easy way to get your heart rate up. That's what we're showing today. These are all ways of exercising that don't overtax your system. Okay, now, with the exercise, what are you looking to do? Increase your heart rate. That puts out more endorphins. Endorphins decrease stress, and they decrease inflammation. Two things that are vitally important. Head to toe. And what's this, the biggest one? Arthritis. The best thing for arthritis, and it's amazing. I think I told you the story, my daughters are doing this health coaching. My daughter had a client who is my son's best friend. He's had back pain for years. He's always been a laborer. He hadn't been under 200 pounds since high school. When they started, he was 214. He's now 175 pounds. He has no back pain. It's all the stress from the weight on the joints. So again, pay attention. Does that mean that doing this you're going to lose 20 pounds? Not at all. That's the other part of the exercise and wellness is eating well. What do I recommend for eating well? Change your diet. What does that mean? Whatever you're doing now, give 30 days of a change. How do you come about it? Be creative. If you're having cereal and milk and eggs, switch to something else for breakfast. Same thing with lunch, same thing with your supper. 30 days. Give it 30 days of a change. If you're not drinking 10 glasses of water, get as close to it as you can. 30 days. That's all I'm asking for, because it makes such a difference. And please pay attention to what we talked about last month. Read the label for genetically modified food, because we can't digest it, and part of the problem with that is inflammation. All right, guys, so now we're going to get to the fun part. I can't believe you guys haven't guessed it. The most common exercise in America. Anybody want to guess again? I can't believe it. I'm sweating. See that? See? That's what it's all about. Okay, guys. See if you can get it now. Follow me? It's the most common exercise in America. And how did I find out about it? Helen, 103 years old when I admitted her. She looked fantastic. That's the other thing. People that exercise look good. So I go in and see her. We're talking. After I'm done examining her, I said, Helen, what's your secret? She said, Dr. Coppola, you got to cry every day, you got to think every day, and you got to laugh every day. And I said, what do you mean? She said, have you ever seen a movie that brings a tear to your eyes? And I just watched Brian's Song with Gail Sayers and Brian Piccolo. And, you know, it was a tearjerker. You know, you're watching it and you get a little tear there. She goes, 99 cents Netflix, watch it every day. And then she said, who gets your mail? And I said, I do. I give the bills to my wife, I take the good stuff, and I throw the junk mail away. She said, don't throw the junk mail away, read it, it makes you think. And then she said, and you're a doctor, you know laughter's the best medicine. And so I have to admit, I've been watching America's Funny Videos periodically. Like, I'm not on the computer much. My speed is still the flip-top phone. But when I am on, I will put one of those on just to watch it and laugh. But please understand, laughter is exercise. Especially if, like in a group sometimes, if I start laughing, someone may have an odd laugh, and it's been funny where you may laugh for 2 or 3 minutes straight, and you end up, you feel the muscles in your belly when you laugh like that. So again, please pay attention to the importance of laughter. It is so much for your body. What does it do? First, I'm sure you guys remember, turn that frown upside down. It takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. Okay? That's number one. Number two, you feel good when you laugh. What gets poured out? Endorphins. That's the chemical we want to produce, guys. Endorphins help you with everything. Less inflammation, less stress, better sleep, better everything. And how do we get the endorphins? Exercise. And what's the exercise? Remember that, guys. It's that simple. And I showed you in the chair what you can do. Please get into the habit. Please try to make it a habit for yourself, because what you'll find out, you'll see the difference when the endorphins travel in your body. As they go through your bloodstream, you feel better. And I have to admit it. It was funny, probably, I think it was still winter when we first played, maybe February. Dr. Jagiello challenged me to come back out. He and I played soccer together I've known Ben since 1980. So probably 30 of the 40 years we've played together. And we both play defense. I play stopper, and I play sweeper, and he plays stopper. He's the last guy back. And so, long story short, when you play so well together and so long together, you know what the other guy's thinking. And that's how we did so well over the period of time. But he's the guy that got me back playing soccer, because I had quit for probably 3 or 4 years. And now, like I said, we're playing softball again, and I definitely feel better. You know, it's one of those things that I sleep better, every part of the daily routine, and it all came up just happenstance that Ben challenged me to come back to play soccer. So now we're in an over 60 league. We won the over 50, we lost the over 40, lost the over 30. So now we're over 60 league, and we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you guys posted. All right, guys, so from my end, the main takeaway from today, and now you know what the most common exercise in America is the importance of exercise. And the ones I showed you, please get into the habit. And please, for anybody starting to do this today, 10 minutes is all I want anybody to start with. You build up to 30, and if you can get to 60, I'll be impressed. And give yourself a break. If you can do it every day, that's wonderful, but 5 days is what's recommended. So start with the 5 days at 10 minutes. And what we also want to incorporate into that is paying attention to the ADLs. And again, I think we have a talk coming up in a couple months where we'll talk about the particulars of what you want to pay attention to as we age in place, as they call it nowadays. And one of the things that's vitally important is your activities of daily living and how well you do these things. And please pay attention. Remember what I said. The computer age is upon us. What you say, people take in their mind's eye to mean something may not be what you want it to mean. And I think I gave the example last time. I had a patient that's on dialysis. She was in the hospital. She had diverticular disease, had to have antibiotics to clear it up. She went to dialysis, came back, and as they were heating up her breakfast, the physical therapist came in to take her to therapy. And she said, "Oh, they're heating up my breakfast. Come back after I eat my breakfast." What did the physical therapist document? Patient refused. So when she was discharged, they refused her home care. Does everybody follow me? That's what happens, guys, because you're not the person that it used to be. It used to be we all spoke. Now in the hospital, it's all the computer, and the computer has to get done more than ever, and you can't get out of certain fields until you answer certain questions. So if they walk in and you don't do it on their time, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come up, patient refused. And then if you refuse the service in the hospital under Medicare, Medicare won't approve after hospital home care. Now, is it a problem? Not at all. Just make sure if it ever comes up, you speak to that person so they understand you're not refusing. You know, just remember what I'm telling you. And also remember what I've been telling everybody. These hospitals that they're building, pay attention. If you're made observation, it's Part B, not Part A of Medicare. So I hope no one has to go to the hospital, but statistically you may. You make sure if they're keeping you overnight, they're admitting you, that they're not making you observation. If they admit you, that's Part A of Medicare. You usually don't have co-pays and deductibles. If they make you observation, it's Part B, and most of us do have co-pays and deductibles. Okay, guys? I get to leave you with another funny joke. Did you guys hear about the nail that went to the AA meetings? He kept getting hammered. Come on, you have to laugh. That's what it's all about, guys. All right, questions? Any questions at all? Good, I gave Karen all the topics. So I think you're going to see some of the stuff that's coming up is quite interesting, guys. Technology's changing. The accountable care organizations are out there. And hopefully through the summer, we'll go over all this stuff so that we're ready. So I'll see you guys next time. And remember, it was Holly's fault, even though she's on vacation, that I was late today.